Day 5, Reputation. Yesterday we read how we are God's masterpiece and how He's created us for a mission. I obviously don't know exactly what your mission is, but I can tell you one thing. Your mission involves people. God always has and always will be about people. Before we move forward in discovering this mission, I need to share some difficult statistics. In the book Unchristian, this guy named Dave Kinnaman surveyed thousands of people between the ages of 16 to 29 years old and asked them their thoughts about Christians. 85% use the word hypocrite somewhere in their answer. The word hypocrite comes from the Greek meaning someone who's acting. We all know people who wear the "Hello, I'm a Christian" name tag, but their lives are the exact opposite. If we're going to truly live like Jake in the film and save lives, we must start with examining ourselves. Now, the great news is that God is a God of second and third and 400th chances, but those chances start with you repenting. And as crazy as it sounds, God is far more concerned with your heart than any good things you might do with your hands. So before we move into next week and talk about reaching out to the hurting and the lonely, we need to see if there is some stuff in us that we first need to leave behind. Today could be difficult, but that just means that God is working in you. Now take those few moments to quiet your mind and ask God to reveal what He wants for you to hear today. Also remember that after each question we go through, take a moment to press pause and write an answer into your devotional. Today's passage is Revelation chapter 3, verses 1 through 3. Let's read it together. To the angel of the church in Sardis write, "These are the words of Him who holds out the 7 spirits of God and the 7 stars. I know your deeds. You have a reputation of being alive, but you're dead. Wake up, strengthen what remains and is about to die, for I have not found your deeds complete in the sight of my God. Remember, therefore, what you have received and heard. Obey it and repent. But if you do not wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know what time I will come to you." Imagine you are a part of the Sardis church. What is your reputation according to this passage? How do we sometimes still do this very thing in today's world? Close your eyes for a moment as I ask you 2 very personal questions. If I got a chance to hang out with some people that know you pretty well from school and I said, "Tell me about," put your name in the blank, what would they say about you? Now imagine I got a chance to hang out with God for a little while and I decided that you would be the topic of our conversation. If I asked God, who knows everything, "Tell me about," put your name in the blank, what would He say? Now compare the 2 answers. Are there areas in which you have a reputation for doing good, but really you're faking it? List any ways in which your faith or love for others is more an act than it is truth. Now, before moving forward in this series, is there anything you need to confess to God? You need to ask for strength to live differently. Write your prayer to God here. Now, I know we've studied all week about the great ways that God sees you, but do you really live up to them? Because here's the scary news. If the answer your classmate would give is significantly different than what God would say, there's a good chance your faith, it might be an act. And while your performance might be fooling those around you, be confident that it's not fooling God. And just because He knows everything about you and He still loves you, that doesn't mean we've got a free ticket to totally ignore the ways He's called us to live. Paul writes these words to another church that had a similar issue. He said, "Don't be misled. No one makes a fool of God. What a person plants, he will harvest." See, there are no shortcuts to getting closer with God who made you. But the good news is that your relationship with Him right now is exactly as close as you want it to be. Wherever you're at, He's desiring an even closer relationship with you. And the only thing stopping you from getting there, I think it's yourself. So let me ask, Is there anything that you've allowed to get in between you and God? And can I tell you from experience, God is so much better, but it's going to require some sacrifice. Well, this ends your first week of Devo to Go journey, and I've enjoyed hanging out with you. Tomorrow, Saturday, we're going to get to hear from Zach Hunter, who will review some of the stuff we've talked about and how it applies to your daily life. And finally, one last tip before I sign off. Tell someone who you really trust what you've committed to so they can keep you accountable. Most of the commitments we keep to ourselves end up being the commitments we don't keep at all. So tell someone you really trust what you've committed to God so they can help you fulfill it. Enjoy the rest of the journey.